Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, classic, non-classic. Episode number 2860 and Doubleshot number 2754. First, we're discussing the first 14 issues of Checkmate, and then also we're going to talk about Aquaman Volume 5, issues 50 to 62. Now, I did ask Paul Kupperberg on Twitter about this, what was the basis of Checkmate? The way he described it is he wanted to try something different related to the DC Universe that also involved some Batman characters, namely Harvey Bullock. That's kind of what basically the premise of this book is. It's like trying something different. I mean, the whole chess thing is interesting. Now, the first issue of this book, by the way, the whole book is written by Paul Kupperberg. He writes the whole thing with Steve Emmerich. Book starts out with basically looks like a fight breaking out, and Checkmate. Checkmate made their debut in Action Comics 595. That was their debut, and this is basically the actual book itself, which sadly only lasted 33 issues, which is something for the time. So a little over 2 years. When the book ended, they reestablished Checkmate in the pages of Deathstroke, of all things. So the book starts out with basically this woman with black hair, who's actually going to be Thorn, who debuted toward the end of Vigilante, which, yes, I'll be discussing her debut in the future. And the Broad Checkmate headquarters where Waller busts into Harry Stern's office. Harry Stern, in the terms of this book, he is Checkmate's director of security. Waller, who is the queen, as for what position she is, don't really know. Yes, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Waller is running Suicide Squad. Why is she in Checkmate? Because apparently she worked Checkmate, despite the fact running Suicide Squad out of Belle Rev. It's bizarre. She did the same thing in Volume 2 as well, and then she got kicked off. She basically got removed from the roster. Yep. Yeah, this is Black Thorn, a vigilante from, Vigilante. And this woman, I will talk more about her when I talk about the book itself. The best way to describe her is that she's a vigilante like Vigilante, except that her whole thing is that if you read the final issue of the book, her biggest contribution she made to the book was that she frequently had sex with Vigilante every issue. That was the biggest contribution. So, yeah, running the show with Waller. Waller herself doesn't return a couple issues later. Yeah, it's like the whole thing with Waller, and then we see, this is a surprise, Harvey Bullock from Batman. Yeah, he is part of Checkmate. You're thinking, wait a minute, Harvey Bullock is a detective for the GCPD. Why does he work for Checkmate? He got an offer in Batman to work for them. So, and plus, I gotta love the way this office looks. It is so 1980s with this office, with these big, huge chairs. There's even like in one issue in this book where it's like this U-shaped couch that they have a meeting on. I'm like, wow. You can definitely tell this is the late 80s, because I love late 80s for stuff. So, yeah, by the way, Wallace upset the fact that Harry Stern brought her to Checkmate. Yeah, that's the only reason she's upset. So she basically gets trained, and then she eventually leaves. Oh yeah, and also we have these various rooks. So then we cut to a pawn who is, get this, investigating these businessmen who are connected to get this, neo-Nazis. Yes. And they think they're above the law because they're businessmen. So they get beaten up, some get away, and of course, we get a ride. Now, we reveal who the heck this guy is in a minute, because this is something that offends. Yes, this offends the bad guy he's chasing after. Eventually do catch him, and then he does something that's, he's like, ooh, are we going to touch you? So he takes off his glove to reveal he's black. And the guy there is like, don't touch me! All because he's black. That was a good standard procedure, so he didn't shake the guy's hand who's saved. Yeah, and they reveal, yeah, he definitely is black. But at the end of the issue, he pops up occasionally of this book, but yeah, really cool something with this character. Mm-hmm. Next step. That was issue 1 of this book. Issue number 2. At one point in this book, Checkmate's headquarters get invaded by criminals. So the pawn takes up more bad guys. By the way, Blackthorn, like after issue 1, she disappears for a few issues and she comes back. Well, Waller once again is after her because she's a vigilante. Actually, she's a killer. Actually, she's back in this book. Yeah, Blackthorn, it's like, Paul Kupper created this character, so I guess they feel as though, hey, I'm going to keep her in the book. Mm-hmm. Oh, and here's a little fun fact about Checkmate Volume 1. Only 1 issue's in trade. Oh, by the way, this group is called the American Supremacist Party. Yeah, the whole thing is that basically deal with Nazism. Yeah, and their leader gets killed off by issue 3. Yeah, and the black guy's book, his name is Gary Washington. Yeah, he actually was somebody who was, now you probably think, was he crazy about Kupper? Oh, yes, he was. Oh, he's actually a knight. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Blackthorn is actually in this book for quite a while. Yeah, in case you're curious, does she appear like every issue of this book? First 2 issues, yes, then she disappears for several issues. Comes back issue 8 and 14. Yeah, after 2, she's not seeing it now. Oh, I thought it was David Stern. Let's see, that's Harry Stern, yes. Henry Stein is the king for Checkmate. And he also debuted in Pages of Vigilante, which of course basically they decided to just carry over into Checkmate, which he appears for pretty much the entire series. Oh, it was actually $8.98, not basically $9.95. I think it was the debut of Shield Banshee. Yep. And then we have State of the Union, which with the killing off of Kill Maxwell, they basically kind of eliminate the group itself by issue 3 and 4. It's basically the first appearance of Knight O'Donnell. Another knight in the book, whose real name is Winston Churchill. And he is a fairly recurring character, but after the events of the Jonas Directive, he's here for pretty much the rest of the series. His appearance is just couple, and then he returns to the rest of this book. And it seems as though, like, whenever Paul Kupper creates these characters, it's like he kind of loosely bases upon real life people, like Winston Churchill, Jack Wenowski, probably based upon John Wayne, or at least somebody. Jack Tyler, yeah, he only appears for 1 issue, then he's just gone after this. Yeah, and by the way, for some reason it becomes a split book. Right there. Okay, anyways. Book comes a split book where it debuts more Checkmate characters. It's like early on we just deal with various missions related to Checkmate. That's kind of what we have for the opening issues of this book. By issue 7, basically comes a new story. We debut a female knight who was actually here for a pretty good period of time. Yeah, she's here. Like, after issue 7, she disappears again. And yeah, it's like characters show up in these early issues and then they basically drop for several issues. By issue 8, Blackthorn comes back in the book. And once again, Waller's after her. Because of course she is. All because she killed people. Yeah, and then we have two more characters, Abe Crane and Roger Dayton. You're thinking, wait a minute, is this guy related to Steve Dayton? Don't know. They never really explore that about this character. Also, did with Counterfeiting issue 9. Issue 10, it is still do the counterfeiter stuff. By issue 11, it's actually tying into an invasion. So yes, we actually have Checkmate deal with fighting off aliens, which they go off to space. Even wanted to bring a freaking gun to point at one of the astronauts' heads. And then, like, issue 12 is basically the aftermath of this whole thing. 13. Oh, by the way, we have a guest appearance by Grace Goonis. Who is this woman? Oh, yeah. Grace is somebody who's associated with Checkmate. Except that she's a rook who's not around very much. By issue 12, she is dropped for the book. As for why, don't know why. And then basically we have various knights. Yep. And then by issue 14, Blackthorn was once again back in the book. Worshiping hunted by Waller. Of course, the first opening story is basically all about Blackthorn. The backup story is about John Reed. And then they team up with the final story where the whole thing is dealing with Adrian Chase. Pretty interesting start for this book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the next thing related to this book will be the Jonas Directive. Yep. Now for issues 50 to 62, mostly put, there's some odd stuff happening in these issues. Like, well, actually there's some historical things happening here. Well, at one point we find out that Dolphin is pregnant with Garth's child. And he doesn't help it, so he talks to a mermaid he used to date. And eventually he proposes to Dolphin. He invites the Titans over to the wedding, which is quite nice of him. And they officially get married. Yep. It's officially about Vanco, and, well, at one point, the first time I do the ceremony, her water broke. And then it's like, maybe it was a false alarm. But, oh, and as for John Reed, John Reed is here. He was here for recurring for, like, most of the first 8 issues, and after 14, he's there for a little bit. And then after Jonas Directive, he's not seen again until the last issues of the book. Now, Aquaman, one thing I should mention though about this book, I forgot to mention here at the start is, we have a brand new writer in the book. We have, get this, the creator of Savage Dragon himself, Eric Larson, in the book. Oh yeah, there's also this group known as the Landlovers. Oh, and here's something interesting though. Issue 50 is also debut of a character who's noteworthy for appearing in Young Justice. The TV show is. That being Lagoon Boy. Yep, Eric Larson created this guy, and this is basically his debut appearance. Oh, and Garth Dolphin's wedding happened issue 60 of this very book. So, about a year into Aquaman, basically this run, we have basically him getting married. Also, Gary Carlson is basically as a co-writer in this book, who came on age 58 and he left with 62. I'm not sure exactly why they brought this guy in for, but they did. There's also a thing in here with this woman who like Inca at one point that Aquaman kisses her, and then he finds, oh, this actually is a sister. They're like, wait, what? Yeah. It is very weird. Oh yeah, and there's a joke with issue number 53 where like, who's busier, Aquaman or Superman? Both. It is some interesting set of issues here. Yeah, it was actually. By the way, he doesn't find out that Indigo was actually his sister until quite later. Yeah, by issue 60, they find out the fact that, well, if Alan's like, no, no, don't kiss her. Don't do anything with that. That's your sister. Like, what? Yes, Eric Larson decided to do this with this book where he viewed the character that was a crazy spear David was, in fact, Aquaman's sister. It's like, what? It is by far one of the most strangest things related to this storyline. Yeah, but it was also a character named Noble, who I think at one point was supposed to be engaged to Mira. And he basically is only around here for a fairly brief period. By issue 62, he's done. Now, is 62 is at the end of Eric Larson's run? Apparently it is. I just noticed this now. Apparently, I didn't know this. Dan Jurgens takes out the book for the final issues of the book. Well, it's kind of a good thing I stopped when issue 62. At one point in the book, in order to make himself more handsome, he shaved his beard. And I was like, oh, he looked 10 years younger. And then Marisol like, why'd you shave your gorgeous beard? And so he grew it back. Yeah, it's a very interesting. Now, I knew about Eric Larson. I thought he was final. I mistaken with that for the longest time that he was final writer of the book. But no, it was Dan Jurgens. I kind of forgot he wrote this book. I mean, I knew about Pierre David, Eric Larson, and Dan Van Lenning, but I completely forgot about Dan Jurgens. Now, we also see the return of the Piranha Man in this run. First time since issue 2 of this book. Technically, the last period in issue 0, but they return for this run and then they're dropped. They're never seen again after this. I do gotta admit, these issues were a lot of fun. I do like the fact that Eric Larson, toward the end of his run, his very brief run half of the book. Oh, we also get the first appearance of Lava Lord. The character's not on for a few issues, but I gotta admit, this actually was a really good set of issues. I'm gonna give the issues roughly a 9 out of 10. I just was kind of surprised the fact that Eric Larson left after. I thought for the longest time, because it's been a long time since I read these issues, I thought he basically wrote the remainder of this run. But no, it was Dan Jurgens. Which I thought that was strange. Yes. Oh, and also at one point, Aquaman's son tries to make a return here in this book after he'd been banished by his own father, and it doesn't go anywhere at all. It's like once Pierre David left the book, it's like his appearances were decreased. 59 was sadly put his last appearance in this book for years. Yeah, and get this. After issue 53 of this very book, he would not return again until volume 6, number 32. Which was released in 2005, and John Ashley and Patrick Gleason did the book. So it took him 1999. It took him about 6 years to return to the book. Also, they find Black Manta in the book, where apparently, like, his whole crew has been massacred, and he's somehow like alive, like barely. Yeah, as for why the heck he murdered his own crew, it is strange. Like why the heck they died. It's like they tried to do something with it, and of course deal with a character named Demon Gate, who was another period of character returns for issue 58, who's here for this final appearance of this character, and then he's never seen again. But I absolutely love this run, and well, next to talk about this book will be Dan Jurgens' run. Now, does he do the whole book? For Aquaman, he does it for... Yeah, he does it for pretty much the remainder of this run. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit this like button. Next up is going to be One Piece. I'm going to get this done with, okay? Next video. Bye.